Hello everyone, and welcome to my first new time-lapse in a while. I guess is this a time-lapse? I didn't speed up any of the footage, so it's all real time, but obviously I edited out a whole bunch. So I guess I don't know if this counts as a time-lapse, or it's just a real-time video, I don't know. Anyway, welcome to another painting process video. This painting has been several years in the making. I had this idea initially, a really long time ago. I posted it on Patreon, just like a tiny version that I did in a sketchbook with watercolors. And yeah, I want to say I've been thinking about this idea for maybe 3 or 4 years. Maybe not quite that long. Anyway, so in case you didn't know, in the art community, there's a challenge called MerMay, and it's where you draw a mermaid every day in the month of May. I don't actually know the history behind it. I just know it's a thing. Anyway, I have never participated. I've kind of sort of tried maybe once or twice, but not really. And this one year, a few years ago, I had the idea of everyone in my comic would be willing to participate and let me draw them as mermaids, except Dazer. Dazer would not want to be a mermaid. And I loved the idea of Dazer deliberately not participating so much that I thought it would make a funny illustration. So I sketched it in my sketchbook and shared it with patrons, and then didn't do anything with it for a year or two. And then earlier this year, in 2022, I finally decided to tackle it. So this painting, I don't think it was even painted in May. I painted it in June, but I sketched it during May, and I just didn't quite feel ready to tackle it because it's kind of a more complicated illustration than what I typically am willing to attempt. It's got a background, it's got water, it's got multiple characters, the whole, all of the difficult things. But yeah, the point of this was, I guess not the point of it, but the root of it was inspired by MerMay. I just didn't paint it during MerMay, and I didn't post it during MerMay, so there you go. But outside of the little challenge thing, this painting actually also did something else. That, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I don't think so. I really felt like this painting kind of helped me level up a little bit in terms of what I'm willing to tackle. Because primarily, when I just sit down to paint, I like to just paint characters. And I really have to force myself to add background elements and stuff. It's not easy for me, and it doesn't come naturally. But I felt like this painting, I worked on it really slowly. There's multiple days in this painting. And I felt like it helped me kind of overcome my fear of complete illustrations, like backgrounds and stuff. I guess a finished illustration doesn't have to have a background, but it certainly feels a little bit more complete if it does have a background and it fills the page. So I planned this pretty carefully, and I broke it down into steps, and I let myself paint it slowly, and I took breaks and stuff. And I just enjoyed every single part of the process, which is not that common. I think most of you who are artists understand kind of no matter how much you like art, when you're painting, there are stages that you don't like, or there's stages where the painting is gonna look weird or ugly. And for this one, I just never lost confidence, I guess. I think it's because I did plan it and I thought about this painting for so long. Everything that I painted in this painting felt like the obvious choice. There was no doubt in my mind about what to paint. But to go back what I was saying about it helped me overcome my mental block I have with with making complete illustrations. On the one hand, sorry, this is very rambly. I didn't plan this. I'm just going with it. On the one hand, it helped me overcome in a technical aspect because I planned it, I thought about it, and I loved the way it came out. And after this painting, I just really wanted to do more carefully planned, well thought out, complete illustrations instead of just character illustrations. So it helped me kind of in that regard. But also, the other thing that I kind of took away from this painting was the idea that I can put a ton of work, a lot of work, into painting for fun. As an artist who is trying to grow her following and get followers and put out a comic and all that kind of stuff, it's very easy for me to get caught up in what I quote unquote have to do for art, like post every so often and kind of have a brand and make things make sense, I guess. And everything has to be cohesive. And painting my characters as mermaids was definitely not on my list of things that fit my brand. And definitely like spending hours on a painting of mermaids was so far away from what I thought I would allow myself to do. But I did it, and it came out, I think, pretty darn good. And after I finished it, I just all of a sudden was like, oh, that's right. I'm the boss. I get to decide what I paint. I don't have to just like stick into this narrow little road of what I think will, do good for my career. I can actually just paint what I feel like sometimes. And it was really exciting, which is actually to connect it. Like I said, this was painted in June, but I thought about this painting recently because I've been doing daily gouache paintings for November, and they have just been like, I'm not pressuring myself to make them brilliant or publishable or anything like that. I'm just painting what I've got time to paint and what feels inspiring. And it's so fun. It is so fun to just paint what pops into my brain. And what I'm really enjoying these days is my ability is so far above like what it was back in the day when I did draw for fun more regularly, like before I was publishing a comic and stuff. So this is like, it feels like a ridiculous treat that I have all these skills and all this expertise and experience, and I get to use it to paint mermaids. So yeah, I really was thinking about this painting because I feel like it unlocked a door in my brain, the door that I kept closed, and I said I couldn't paint for fun. I could only paint if it had a purpose. That was pretty well thought out and planned and justified. And I don't have to. Actually, I do have time to paint fun things like this and make my comic and post on Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that was the biggest lesson, honestly, from this painting was it's okay to paint for fun. I'm gonna jump in here and wrap up this video. We're coming to about the end of the footage. I realized I didn't talk about like the painting at all, really, like the materials and stuff, but it was painted on Canson's L'Aquarelle. I can't say it nicely, but the L'Aquarelle hot press paper, and I think it was all acrylic gouache. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was all acrylic gouache, and the two brands that I use are Turner and Holbein, and then I used a mixture of brushes, so I have no idea what those were. But yeah, if you're interested in trying out acrylic paint, those are the brands that I recommend, and I do actually highly recommend the paper as well. Canson's L'Aquarelle paper is by far my favorite to paint on. It's very, very luxurious. It's very sturdy. It really holds up to lots of layers, lots of water. Yeah, so those are the materials that I used. I think this painting is like 11 by 14. And now that I'm looking at this process and I'm kind of thinking about the painting again, I sort of want to turn it into a print. I don't know if anybody else is interested in a print of my characters, my comic characters as mermaids, but I kind of want one just to see. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. If you're interested, links to the comic with these characters, not as mermaids, is in the description below. And that is all. Yeah. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!